feels slightly just kinky.
Hello and welcome to the Elliot Omenson Show. It is May 28th. Is it May? May 28th?
It is May 28th.
Yeah, it's May 28th. And we're coming off of Memorial Day weekend and the 5-year anniversary to George Floyd's passing.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Yeah, and so we got a lot of great stuff. We're going to delve into the most dangerous territory I think two white guys can go, right?
Yeah, we're going to be pushing the boundaries a little bit.
Right, racing Americans. So actually, I'm gonna start off. I got a pretty funny story to tell you. Well, actually, you were there for it. So we were. I think this is just perfect. I had no idea how powerful the accusation of being racist was until this weekend. All right. So last Friday, we were filming at the Kansas City World War I Memorial for a podcast called Backseat Ballers, and Backseat Ballers. It literally generates no revenue for us. It's an expense to us. All revenue it generates goes to the I Am Foundation. And the I Am Foundation is a nonprofit set up to help children from disadvantaged areas or whatever I don't know what the common parlance is anymore for that. But kids that are less privileged.
Underserved. Yeah, I think that was the word.
Okay. And the I Am Foundation does all sorts of really awesome things. It's helped over 1,200 of these kids. It connects them to business owners for summer internships. It connects them to college students to act as mentors to help lead them to college. Teaches them leadership, personal etiquette, just all these different things, right? And so every dime generated by Backseat Ballers goes to the I Am Foundation to help these children, right? So we're out of the World War I Memorial. We're filming our intro, and we're approached by two people, and this information I'm about to provide pertains to the story. A white woman and a white guy. And he wasn't just a white guy. He's a redhead white guy. So like the whitest white guy you can imagine, right? And they come walking up to us, and they got lanyards and ID badges. And was the woman holding a clipboard even?
Yeah, she was holding a clipboard, and the guy was like a security guy, so he's got his like gun on his waist and everything.
Yeah. And they come up to us, and they're like, excuse me, are you filming? And we're like, yeah, we're filming. And they said, is it like a personal photo shoot or something? And I told them, well, we're filming for, like a podcast TV show like thing, called the Backseat Ballers. And they started in about how we're supposed to have pulled permits and paid fees and just all this stuff, right? And I'm like, well, it is, for a nonprofit. It's a fundraiser for a nonprofit called the I Am Foundation. And she's like, well, we're a nonprofit too or whatever. And so just as a joke, I go, okay, fine. I'll just go tell all the black kids that you're racist and hate them.
That won him over.
I have never seen two people more terrified in my life. I've seen people get guns pulled on them with less terror across their face. I mean, seriously, in fact, they were so terrified, I immediately felt bad.
Yeah.
And to get me to feel bad for you is a pretty hard thing to accomplish. And I was like, holy shit. And I'm like, you guys, I'm sorry. It's a joke. I'm kidding.
Yeah, because they kind of just stuttered. They didn't even say anything back.
No, they just looked at me like, oh, what the, ah.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I realized just how powerful the accusation of being racist is in America.
Yeah.
It just blew my mind.
And the funny thing is, they were talking about how like normally you got to pay like a fee to do it.
Yeah.
And then you offer to pay the fee. They're like, no.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't take a fee. We didn't need all of a sudden, we didn't need to pull permits. We didn't need to pay fees.
Yeah.
I mean, I resolved there and then to just go. I'm just calling everybody a racist anytime I'm not getting my way, because it is like the magic button.
Oh yeah.
To get whatever you want. I mean, it was wild.
Yeah,
I had never seen something like that.
I might have to start trying that out because it definitely worked.
It did. And what's super funny, our executive producer actually was recording. She didn't get the video of them, but she has the audio of it on her cell phone. So, in case anybody doesn't believe me that I actually said that. But all right, now second funny story before we get into all of our serious stuff. I live out in the country. It's in a neighborhood, but all the yards are 2 to 10 acres. And we live on 10 acres. We got, the trees that have been around for a long time. And we have this one tree out in front of our house that has this perfect branch for a tire swing. But instead of doing a tire swing, we have this really cool, it's like a sheet of plywood. We've put 2x4s underneath it to reinforce it, to give it some stability. And then we put 4 grommets on the corners or like eye screws, right? So we can, so we run a rope from the tree, and then we branch out from the rope to 4 lines that go to these 4 corners. And this sheeted plywood just sits about a foot off the ground. We throw a twin mattress bed topper on top of it and pillows and a blanket. And it's just super awesome. You just lie out at night in the summer evenings with the cool breeze, and you just kind of swing gently in the wind, and you hang out and you look at the stars, and it's awesome.
That's nice.
Yeah. You and I, we can cuddle up on there one night. I'll show you how good it is.
Heck
all right. Yeah. So we take it down for the winter, and right now it's raining a lot, right? So we don't keep it out for the rain, right? We wait till it kind of like the winter goes through, in the spring the rain subsides, and we get it back up. So just recently we threw the rope back up, and my kids, when they put the rope up and they tied the knot off on the end, it definitely looked like a noose. Okay, so now we're out in the country. We got the American flag up on our house, and everybody, we always put Trump signs up and stuff, so everybody knows we're huge Trump supporters. And now I got a fucking noose hanging from my tree in my front yard, right? Well, I don't think anything of it, right? So Friday night, after we were filming Backseat Ballers, a buddy of mine and his 2 brothers come over. And when I say his 2 brothers, I mean his 2 brothers and 2 brothers. All right.
2 brothers.
Yeah. So I jokingly refer to them as they're the 3 kids where the printer slowly was running out of ink. Because the oldest is like a dark-skinned brother. Like, he's tall, and they have different dads, same mom.
Yeah, I would imagine.
And then the total white one is just the stepbrother. So it's like his dad married their mother. Yeah. Okay, and so there's no blood relation between one and the other 2. But it's just funny because one's tall and more dark skinned. One actually, I was like, "What are you, Guatemalan?" He's like, "No, I'm half black." You never know. He's shorter, looks more Hispanic than black, and then the other one is a redheaded Irish white dude, right? So the 3 of them come over to my house, and we just have an absolute blast. But it was so funny. They come walking in, they're like, "Hey, what's up with the you got a noose hanging out of your tree?"
Oh goodness.
They're like you might want to do something about that. And so we're just dying laughing. And then we go out to the back, we shoot guns for like 3 hours and grill out some steaks and just have this ride quads and a bunch of white trash good times. Right? So Sunday I get a phone call from this guy that kind of manages my property. Now, he's a good time, long friend of mine. He's a Assiniboine Native American from the Fort Peck Indian Reservation, which, if you can see the bison skull up above my head, that was shot on the Fort Peck Indian Reservation. And my friend Mike, who manages my property, secured that whole trip for me, right? So he's out working on the landscaping, putting new mulch into the flower beds and all that kind of stuff. And this red pickup truck pulls in, and a blonde-haired white guy gets out of it. And he goes up to Mike, and he's like, "Are you the owner of this property?" Mike's like, "No." "Oh, well, can I speak to him?" Mike's like, "Well, he's not here right now. What's going on?" And he said the guy's like all shifty and looking around, and Mike was getting nervous. And the guy's like, "Well, have you guys considered the impression you're giving with the that rope you got there hanging out of your tree?" I'm like,
yeah, I mean, it definitely is especially if you said this in your front yard. That's
it's
definitely an impression.
It's in the front yard, right? Because we're about to connect the 4 other.
About to hang what?
The swing from it.
We're about to hang what?
Yeah, the swing, right? and it's just been raining all week, and so we just haven't gotten the last part of it connected to it, right? And so the guy literally stood there, and while Mike went and undid the knot, so it didn't look like a fucking noose. All right, so I just find it very interesting that, like, I don't know if there's just something in the air around this time of year in America where, racial things get heightened, or it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I think there's like some quantum universe that kind of is connecting everything and causing all these things to kind of stand out or whatever. But anyways,
it's just George Floyd pulling his magic.
That's right. The ghost of George Floyd haunting us, right? So I actually want to start off because we got a lot of stuff on the George Floyd thing, right? Because it's the 5-year anniversary. And so I want to actually start off with reading. This is from the Wall Street Journal, okay? And there's a number of studies that have been done that really detail how dangerous the white nationalist, white supremacy, ultra-right MAGA movement is, okay? And it details a lot of the harm that's been going on. And I think they looked at like the last 10 years and the increase of all these like deaths and assaults and physical harm that's being caused. And the reason why I wanted to highlight this is because I really think it goes unreported a lot in America. There's this huge narrative in America that like there's certain elements that are the cause of the crime. Right now, Donald Trump with the illegal immigrants and highlighting the rapes and the murders and the Venezuelan gang taking over the apartment complex and stuff, but they never highlight like all the harm being done by the white nationalists, the ultra right wing Christians, those movements, right? And so I just want to get into some of these numbers because I think it's pretty astounding. I didn't know it was this bad. Okay, so over last 10 years, 2,000 officers have been injured in the line of duty, according to the Mayor City Chiefs Association, an organization of police executives. 8,700 white nationalist protests across major U.S. cities over the last decade, 3,692 of which involved illegal activity, 574 of which included outright violence. Like, where is the reporting on this, right?
Yeah.
Those included attacks on police as well as destruction of local businesses and other private property. 574.
I'm sure there's some looting involved too.
2,385. This is just the last decade. 2,385 looting incidents. 624 arson incidents. 97 police vehicles burned. In just 2 cities over the 10 years, 1,500 properties sustained severe damage, with nearly 80% completely destroyed, resulting in somewhere between $1 to $2 billion of paid insurance claims. Like, this is insane.
It's a whole lot of crazy.
Right? And I'm just sitting here going, especially as we sit here and we look at the, so I really think like the outcropping, like, so here you have this, you have this situation with George Floyd that gets all this attention on like Black Lives Matter and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I'm just like, just for comparison, right? So, oh shit. No, yeah, my bad. Right? Actually, that wasn't over 10 years even. I should learn to read better. So that was just between May and July.
Of 1 year?
Of 1 year.
Wow. I wonder what year that was.
Oh, 2020. Oh, shit. No, this is just Black Lives Matter between May and July. This isn't white nationalists. This isn't Christians. This isn't pro-lifers. This is between May and July. 2,000 officers were injured in the line of duty, according to the Mayor City Chiefs Association. 8,700 protests just that summer. 3,692 with illegal activity. 574 including outright violence and attacks on police. 2,385 looting incidents is just between May and July. Not 10 years. All Black Lives Matter protests. 624 arson incidents, 97 police vehicles burned in just in Minneapolis and St. Paul. 1,500 properties, severe damage with 80 destroyed, and $1 to $2 billion of insurance claims. Inside May, June, July, 3 freaking months. all in the name of social justice.
Yeah. And I think as we get into it, I think one of my biggest issues with this, especially with something like this George Floyd, is that any kind of racial motivation is 100% pure speculation at best, and it's pretty big reaction. Obviously, there's a couple other instances too that we're going to get into of some police on black incidents, but again, the racial motivation is non-existent. It's pure speculation.
Well, Harvard studied this at length, and they have found that while black people have a higher rate of interaction with police as a percentage of the population than white people, white males have a higher rate of being shot as a percentage of the population. So, anyways, but yeah, get into what you want to get into. Let's go. I just want to start off with that because I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, you sent me that article, and I knew it was really bad because you saw it on TV. But that's even worse. I mean, $1 to $2 billion in 2 cities over the course of a couple months that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
But what is money, right? Money is just a measurement. It's just a unit of measurement, man. That's $1 to $2 billion of people's lives. They're small businesses, right?
Yeah, and like, what good is the looting doing? This whole thing was like an excuse to go loot places. Stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, so kind of moving on to George Floyd. So Sunday was that 5-year anniversary. So
Yep.
It was May 25th, 2020 is the whole incident where it kind of all began. And there's a lot of recognition going on this week, and I think we'll get into all of it. But to kind of start like all the prep for this episode, like I just went back and rewatched the full body cam. And
Yeah, how many people do you think have done that?
probably not as many as you should. I think a lot of people have mostly watched. I think the first clips that went viral were the people who were standing on the curb in the incident. They're filming with a phone, yelling at the cops, and it's only the end of the clip. And in my opinion, so I have a lot of strong opinions about this, and I mean, not to jump the gun here, but I do think that Chauvin kneeled on his neck too long. I'm a big firm believer in that. My issue with the George Floyd case is how much has been blown out of proportion, and I don't think anyone, including George Floyd or whoever else it would have been, deserves to die like that. But I think the body cam shows that this is not like racially motivated at all. And then to have this big of an outrage, I think it was mostly because of media. And then also part of the reason why media was so aggressive with it is because this was 2020, 6 months before an election, less than 6 months before an election. And it fits their narrative 100%. And so that's really where I get angry at it. But we can go ahead and pull up the body cam. I've got a few.
We're not gonna start with a tribute by Naphiza.
We'll get there. It's
Collier.
Naphiza Collier. That but yeah, we'll start at the body cam. And I've got and we'll start with a couple minutes in because it's a pretty long body cam. It's a little over 30 minutes.
And I want to comment on your comment about nobody deserves to die like that. I don't believe the state should ever be killing any citizen.
Yeah. And so
right? I don't think law enforcement. I think everything they do should be geared around towards not ending somebody's life.
Yeah.
I never want my government to feel it's okay to take a U.S. citizen's life. I'm against the death penalty, and I'm against cops killing anybody for any reason. And I think they should take every effort possible. And I understand you're putting yourself at risk. But just like being a soldier, that comes with a job. And you shouldn't put yourself unnecessarily at risk. I don't believe in that. I don't think you should be a sacrificial lamb. But I think our law enforcement should be approaching everything from the standpoint of not ending somebody's life.
I agree.
Whether a piece of shit like George Floyd or not.
Yeah. But like I said, and we'll get into it more as we go, but like my issue with the whole George Floyd case is not so much whether this is right or wrong. It's just
But everything that came afterwards.
exactly.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and pull up the body cam, and we'll start a couple minutes in because, and to kind of give a little bit of information ahead of time. So the reason why the cops are called there is because they were called to a shop. I think the shop was called Cup Foods.
Yep.
And so they were calling because somebody had paid with a counterfeit $20 bill.
Yep.
And
Dude,
and sure enough,
yeah. And that guy got attacked for calling the police over it. There was people in the liberal left media that were thought that he was in the wrong for having called the cops.
yeah, that's just dumb. That's a dumb argument. I think you have to be pretty far gone to think he's in the wrong. But he calls the cops and then tells the cops exactly who did it. And then sure enough, George Floyd's just across the street in his old beat up Mercedes. And they go up, knock on his door. And from the very beginning, he is very wound up.
Oh, yeah, because he's all hopped up on drugs.
Well, exactly. Like there's a difference between being nervous around police and there's a difference between this. We'll go ahead and start. I think this is right about. In fact, you can actually put it to 2 minutes. I want to get the very beginning of the clip so we get an idea. So just kind of scroll back until before he opens up his door. And then we'll come back to 2:45. There, right there. You can make it full screen.
You see your hands.
And so the cop's knocking on his door.
Stay in the car. Let me see your other
He's freaking out and he doesn't pay attention to any commands,
Both hands.
which is what raises this concern here.
Let me see your other hand.
He's reaching back. See that?
Yep.
Put your hand up there. Put your fucking hand up there. Jesus Christ. Keep your fucking hands on the wheel. Keep your fucking hands on the wheel.
I'm sorry, Mr. Officer.
Who else is in the car?
This is my
Put
friend.
your foot back in.
I'm sorry, Mr. Officer. I'm so sorry. God dang, man.
Just keep
I
watching.
got shot the same way, Mr. Officer, before.
Okay, well, when I say let me see your hands, you put your fucking hands up.
I'm so sorry, Mr. Officer.
You got them?
Man, dang, man.
Put your hands on top of your head.
Man, Mr. Officer.
Yeah, he puts the gun away.
I got shot like that, Mr. Officer.
Hands on top of your head.
George becomes compliant, puts the gun away.
He never really comes to
Well, I
complain.
know, but right there, he's at least doing what he said. But
Halfway. He's not keeping his hands on his head.
no, but
Step out and face away.
Okay, Mr. Officer, please don't shoot me. Please, man.
I'm not gonna shoot you. Step out and face
No,
away.
I'm looking you eye to eye, man. Please don't shoot me, man.
I'm not shooting you, man.
Please, man. I just lost my mom, man.
Taking one out. Step out and face away.
So sorry.
Step out and face away.
Please don't shoot me, Mr. Officer. Please. Don't shoot me, man.
Step out and face away.
Can you not shoot me, man?
I'm not shooting you. Step out and
You
face
see,
away.
again, not
Yeah,
paying
yeah,
attention to
yeah.
any commands.
yeah.
Please, please, man. Please, please. I didn't know, man.
So that's why he's having to pull him out of the car.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
So right there, that's a 245. You hear somebody screaming, "Stop resisting, Floyd!"
Yeah.
And that's the woman that was in the car.
Yeah.
And it's pretty bad if literally
Somebody
your
else,
friends,
yeah.
your friends. It's not even like some random bystander. It's
Yeah.
Stay in the car.
his friend. And
Get on my knees, whatever.
and so the next few minutes, just a whole bunch. They sit him down. They walk him over to the car. We can go ahead and skip to maybe 9.5 minutes in.
Stand up.
And this is them trying to get him in the car.
Please, officer. Please, please.
And obviously, again, not paying attention to any commands.
No, take a seat. I can't choke. I can't breathe, officer.
And this is roughly when he starts talking about he can't breathe at all.
Yeah.
Ah, my wrist, man. My wrist, man, please. I can't take this, man. I can't. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground.
Get in the squad.
I'm gonna lay on the ground. I'm gonna lay on the ground.
Is he saying I want to lay on the ground?
I believe so.
I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm going down. Get in the squad. I'm going down. I'm going down. I'm not going to lose, man.
And the reason why he's acting like this is because of the drugs.
Yeah, of course.
And we'll get to his toxicology report.
I can't COVID, man. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Please, man. Please listen to me.
Is he going to jail?
Listen to me.
He's under arrest right now for forgery.
I can't.
Okay, go figure out what's going on.
What is what?
And so if we keep watching, you'll kind of keep seeing this where he's fighting them. And at a certain point, here in a little while, he starts kicking at him while he's on the ground.
On the ground. ground.
I appreciate that. I do.
Yeah, there you go.
Start kicking at him and stuff. And again, this is because of the drugs in the system.
Well, you'd think so. Maybe he acts like this without any drugs in his system.
Yeah, some serious
I don't
issues
know.
in this case. And then,
You would hope it's just the drugs.
but yeah, he continues saying that he can't breathe, can't breathe.
Yeah.
Stop moving.
And
Mama, mama,
and I think at that point, Derek Chauvin's got his knee on his neck now.
On my right side back.
mama, mama.
And after a couple minutes, I don't know, basically, for better or for worse, the cops tell him that he's talking fine. He's like, I can't breathe, but he's talking fine.
Oh my God.
Well, yeah, because it's not like people being arrested are known for being honest about anything.
Well, and again, for better or for worse, up to this point, I don't have a big issue with it.
My kids, I love them.
And the I can't breathe is hard to,
My side, it's listed.
it's hard to really know how to react to that, considering he's been saying it since he was.
Yeah, it's not like he started saying it once the
Yeah.
neck was on him. He was
But
saying it in a car.
This goes on for about another 8 minutes or so. It's like 9.5 minutes total.
Yeah.
And in reality, we can probably skip forward a couple minutes.
My face is gone.
We're not going to watch it all, but you'll pretty clearly see the point where it's
Please let me stand.
maybe right there.
I can't breathe.
So he's still talking about he can't breathe.
I can't breathe.
This is definitely around the time where he's actually cooperating.
Because his arms don't look like it.
Like
Like, I've been face down and handcuffed. We can post the pictures. Like, you put your hands behind your back.
Well, they are holding his hand like that.
No, I'm talking about his right arm. Like, why
Yeah,
are
'cause
you
he's
pulling it up
pushed
towards the
over.
side?
Roll on the side.
And I think right there, they one of the cops had mentioned something about rolling on the side.
Yeah.
I just worry about the delirium or whatever.
Worried about the delirium.
Okay. That's fine.
And probably roughly around here is where he goes mostly silent.
Yeah.
And we don't really have to watch a lot more. But this is roughly when a little bit of a crowd gathers at the curb, which we can see a little bit of the body cam just throughout, but not a whole lot. And they're yelling at him, at the cops, and they're
Yeah.
filming. And so this is the part that goes viral ahead of. It takes months before the full body cam, months before this comes out
Yeah.
publicly. We go ahead and stop that.
I think he's messing up.
And so what? He's got one knee on his ass and one knee on his neck.
No, yeah, well, that's actually, I think that's a separate cop. Chauvin is like towards the top. He's got like one knee on kind of back and one knee on neck.
Gotcha.
And so there's that. And then eventually ambulance comes. They take him off. Pretty clearly dead.
Yeah.
And then later on, the cops go back into the store to talk with the store owner again. And they're asking just specifics about, like, because there's multiple people in there that were also in that car with George Floyd. And they described George Floyd as, this will come and tie in later, but they described George Floyd as a muscular 6'8" guy. I'm going to get back to that. But as you can tell, George Floyd's a pretty big dude.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I would have liked his workout routine. But
I don't think he needs one.
But that's part of where some of the manhandling comes in, because he is a big guy.
Yeah.
Actually, he's in reality 6'4", not 6'8", like he was described by the store
Well,
owner.
they're not going to get it right.
But tall and big. But so yeah, not the easiest clip to watch. And so I guess where my issue comes into play is how much like the media rode with the initial clips, which they do look bad, but those initial clips by themselves don't really show what led up to it, and even like the final result is still wrong regardless. But like my argument is just the fact that it's not racially motivated. And
No.
it was pushed as racially motivated. And if you had
Nobody beat the guy.
the equivalent of, a big white dude
Yeah.
acting the same way
Yeah.
under the same circumstances. It's really hard to convince me that this would end up much different, and it'd still be wrong.
I've seen pictures of a white guy face down with two knees on his neck.
Yeah. But yeah, and so that's my biggest issue. And it wasn't
like nowhere in there. I mean, nobody jumped him. Nobody beat him with those bully sticks or whatever cops carry in Britain. You know what I'm talking about? Nightsticks.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was just like 16 minutes so far of people trying to get a guy to calm down and lay still and get into. I mean, they were trying at first to get him into the car so they could take him in.
Yeah, because at any point, granted, we didn't really play the parts, but at any point that he was cooperating, like they were perfectly cordial with him.
Yeah.
So
the
there's-
cop even put the gun away. Like he started putting his hands on his head
Yeah.
when he was told. The cop puts his gun away.
Yeah, so like at one point between when he was in the car and they brought him across the street to bring him to this police cruiser, there was a brief minute or two where they had him sit up against the wall, and it was completely cordial, just normal, like asking for his information and stuff.
Yeah.
But it didn't start off on a very good note because of how he was acting in the car and then not showing his hands. And in fact, he was reaching around in his car.
Yeah. Which that's wildly dangerous.
And I don't care if you're white or black or Asian or whatever. And
Yeah.
if I was a cop, like, cause I've considered being a cop, but like one of the scariest things.
Is that because you're racist?
Possibly. One of the scariest things about being a cop, in my opinion, is literally just that, pulling someone
course.
over. And because you can't really see them that well, they're rolling down the window, they're
Yeah.
reaching for stuff. And
So a good friend of mine, his son was a police officer in the Overland Park Police Force. And there's now a street named after him because on his way into work on a Sunday afternoon, he watched a hit and run take place. And he wasn't on duty, but he saw it happen. He chased him down. The driver opens fire on him. He exchanges fire, and he dies.
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Like, yeah, there's a reason you
Yeah.
got to do what they tell you to do.
Yeah. And so, because I think right off the bat, some people, even after this body cam comes out, like, again, this has got to be a minority of people. I mean, minority as just a percentage of the population, not.
Yeah.
But who think it's like that the police aggression right off the bat was racist. But like if you're going up to somebody who, first off, had just committed a crime, but second off, was acting erratic. Again, that's not racist either. He was clearly erratic. And then he's reaching around in his car after you tell him to show your hands. Like, if you're, like, why would you not be drawing your gun?
Yeah.
Like, you'd be doing a disservice to everybody, including yourself.
No, there's some. I think there's some really interesting questions that have not really been discussed. I've tried to have these conversations with personal friends of mine whose opinion I would actually value, that I think are intelligent, right? One of them is like, I was explaining to one of my friends, she's got a PhD in family and psychology and whatnot, and her whole family are all very educated, very successful African Americans. And I was like for me as a white person, if George Floyd had been white, while I'm not in favor of, I mean, one, I don't believe for 2 seconds that Derek Chauvin killed him. I don't care what the criminal justice conclusion was. It's why I'm against the death penalty, because there's been hundreds of black men on death row convicted and sentenced to death that DNA evidence later proved were innocent. So for a group of people who are like to try and use the claim that because Derek Chauvin was convicted, that means he murdered this guy. Well, then apply that standard across the board. Don't do it when it's a white cop who got convicted on the altar of race in America of killing George Floyd, and then all of a sudden act like we have an infallible legal system because he straight up got sacrificed. But it's like, I was like, if I was a white, if George Floyd was white and he got killed, as much as I don't want the police killing anybody, Like I said, one, I don't believe the police had, I think the drugs and his struggling caused him to die. But I would just be like, good fucking riddance. The guy's a scourge on my society. He is not a positive contributor to anything. So fuck him. And I was like, so why is it that like, as a community, he gets rallied behind? Like I cannot comprehend that. Right? And that's a conversation I'd really love to have more in depth with more people. Right? The second one is you have two people, one who's contributing nothing to the community around him and is subtracting from it. You have another who's been a police officer for 19 years. Was Derek Chauvin 19 years?
I think almost 2 decades. Yeah.
Almost 2 decades of being a police officer. Married? Children?
I'm pretty sure he's got family. Let's look it up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's got a whole ass family.
And so let's just say George Floyd wasn't on any drugs. And let's just say it was irrefutable that Derek Chauvin kneeled on him too long and he died. How in the fuck does that warrant sending Derek Chauvin to prison? Where, by the way, he got stabbed 34 fucking times.
Yeah, it was a lot. I don't know if it was 34, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was like somewhere in the 20s.
Yeah, he got stabbed a lot.
A lot. Anything more than 0 is a lot.
Way more than 10.
More than 10, you're lucky to be alive.
Yeah. So we live in a society where Democrats took a piece of shit subtractor from the community, someone who does nothing but cause harm to everybody around him, and propped him up, and took someone who is actually contributing to making their society safer, which results in better economies and better lifestyle and better quality of living, and sacrificed that motherfucker. Like, this is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of other things to this, and I think you're kind of talking about, if the drugs weren't there, whatever, like none of this would have happened in the first place.
Yeah, but let's just I mean, literally, let's just say for some reason it did, and let's make Derek Chauvin, let's make George Floyd a saint. Let's say George Floyd was a local community nonprofit leader of children and devoted his life to that. And let's say all the cops were racist assholes and they kneeled on his neck for too long and he died. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like you would have to have some real solid evidence that somebody intended to kill someone through that action or knew that behavior would result in that. Right? Like, people don't even get in as much trouble as Derek Chauvin for fucking knowing driving drunk and hitting and killing people.
Yeah, I think he another issue, again, we'll get into a little more detail, but another issue with a trial like this is like I know they screen jurors and stuff, but how are you completely unbiased in something that's so publicized like this?
Yeah.
And
it's like finding an unbiased jury in New York for Trump.
Exactly. Let's see. But yeah, so kind of moving on to some of the drug stuff. He had a lot of drugs in his system, but he's a pretty regular drug user. So actually, I guess first we'll kind of go into some of his criminal history. I won't get into all of it, but I'll just get into the drug charges at least. So he was arrested in 2001 for cocaine possession, and then 2002 for cocaine possession, 2003 for cocaine possession, 2004 for cocaine possession, and 2005 for cocaine possession. And all in total, between all those, it looks like he spent, I don't know, 3.5 years in jail for that. And then clearly he's on a lot of other stuff because in his toxicology report, no cocaine. Fentanyl is the number one thing that really stands out. So he had 11 nanograms per milliliter at during his toxicology report. And to put it in perspective, granted, he's a big guy and he's a regular user,
Yeah.
but something as low as 3 nanograms per milliliter, I think 2 or 3 nanograms per milliliter could be a fatal dose.
And how much did he have?
11. But the thing is that it is largely true. Between a regular user and a guy of that size, 11 is not going to be a lethal dose. Although, I mean, certainly not good for him either. But I think 20 to 50, according to research, 20 to 50 nanograms per milliliter is kind of like, I guess, what would be more of what a chronic user could tolerate.
Okay.
And he's a big dude, so he might even be on the upper range of that, because not only is he pretty big, but it's muscle mass too, so he can probably metabolize it pretty well.
And he said he only had 11?
Yeah, which is still a lot. Like I said, that's still like quadruple lethal dose.
But half of what maybe he could handle.
Well, without dying.
Yeah.
So that's still a high dose. I would imagine. Yeah. Even though it's only maybe halfway to what he could handle, like that's to death.
Yeah.
And they also had some meth in his system, but that was a pretty low level. THC, nicotine, caffeine, blah, blah, blah. None of those really matter. It's really the fentanyl. And, but that's probably what's causing a lot of the delirium and panic and how erratic he was.
Yeah.
Because he clearly was. And they also had some underlying health issues. Like I think he had bad heart, like hypertension, so high blood pressure, which, is a contributing cause to death, actually, in this case, officially. Let's see here. Yeah, so he had hypertensive heart disease. So he had history of high blood pressure. Heart showed signs of enlargement. His arteries were narrowing due to plaque buildup. And so, yeah, just a really bad heart, which, and even in court, I think counts as a contributing factor to death, but is still ultimately ruled a homicide. But yeah, that's a lot. And so going back to his criminal history, so he's first arrested in 97 for theft, and then all those cocaine possessions throughout. Also in 98, he was convicted for criminal trespassing, 10 months in jail. But the big one that you hear about the most is that armed robbery they did. So that was in 07. And that's when Floyd and 5 other men had basically forced entry into someone's home. And in the home, it was like a woman, another woman, and a toddler. And this is where I think some of the rumor comes out about George Floyd pointing the gun at a pregnant lady's belly.
Yeah.
Because he did point at her belly.
Yeah.
I still don't think there's any evidence that she was pregnant.
I mean, she might have just been built like that congresswoman from New Jersey.
Exactly. But like we've talked before, the fact that there's another woman there too, but a toddler there. It's like, I don't even know what's worse. A pregnant lady with no toddler or a lady with a toddler. Because then at that point, you're traumatizing multiple people, including a very little kid.
Yeah.
And so he was arrested for that. I think he spent like five years in jail for that. And it's funny because after that, he's got no criminal history. So he would have got out of jail, I think, 2013 or so. But clearly, he's not doing super well with the law here, between the counterfeit bill, but also just the amount of drugs in the system.
Yeah.
Because almost all those drugs I listed were, illegal drugs, meth, fentanyl. I'm not sure if THC, marijuana. I mean, who the hell cares about that? But clearly, he's still like, even though he hadn't been arrested in a decade, or not really a decade, but like 7 years. I don't know. It's not saying much because clearly he's not really paying attention to much of the law there. But otherwise, just I think most of that crime was down in Texas, and then he moved to Minneapolis, where this ultimately took place. So what do you think about the crime and the drug use?
Well, so in the trial, right, the prosecution argued that there wasn't enough drugs. That the drugs weren't enough in the system.
Yeah.
To have killed him. Dr. Daniel Isenschmid testified that his fentanyl levels were not lethal. And that Chauvin's restraint was the primary factor, not his health or his drug use, because he also had
Some kind of respiratory issue.
Yeah, he had where is it here? I lost it. Dang it.
I'll pull it back up.
Yeah, there we go. He had hypertension and coronary artery disease.
Yeah, that's the buildup.
All right. And that combined with his fentanyl intoxication and whatever else within his system. But, of course, like, yeah, I don't know. It's just interesting because it's like, they claim that because, well, one, I find it also interesting how quickly all the other police officers went to testify against him.
Because they were trying not to get charges.
Exactly.
They did get charged, but
exactly. Like you could read this if you just read this the way that most Americans, I believe, consume news, right? Then you can see. Then you would be like, oh, look, all these other police officers testify against him. All these medical professionals testify against him. The jury deliberates for 10 hours. After 3 weeks, it's a unanimous conviction. This is an open and shut case. But if you just apply a little bit of skepticism to it, a little bit of understanding of human nature, right? It's like you have a police department desperate to try and prove they're not a bunch of racist pieces of shit because somebody accuses them of it. You have all these other officers that they claim, well, and we watched the video where one of them said, hey, should we turn him on his side? And Derek Chauvin says no. So that guy, that like, oh, hey, look, like that's your like that's like you're going to keep from getting in trouble. Hey, I suggest we turn him on the side. Derek Chauvin said no. Well, really? That's where your responsibility ends? People told him to check for a pulse. He did it.
Yeah, and you can see like one of the cops here during the video was checking for a pulse. This actually the cop they were watching here. I'm sure maybe the other cops were too, but they were checking. This guy was checking for a pulse just right there around his ankle, just because it's the only spot he can really grab.
Yeah,
where he's at.
Yeah, and there is this maximal restraint technique, which does involve a knee on the upper back of the neck. Now, it doesn't involve it for 9.5 minutes. You're supposed to use it up until the person stops resisting.
Yeah, that's kind of where I ended up pointing out, because there's a point in here where there's a few minutes where not only is he not resisting, but like that dude might be dead.
Yeah, and so really like, and I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's just because having been in the military, having been in combat, it's like, and I know you're supposed to expect more out of soldiers and more out of police and whatnot than the average person. Your training's supposed to help with all this kind of stuff, right? But it's like, you've been fighting this guy for how long?
A decent little chunk of time. It was like
16.
it was probably about 10 minutes of this video where he was actually fighting around.
So you've been fighting with somebody for 10 minutes. You've had to call in all sorts of support and backup. The guy's 6'4" and 200 and something pounds.
Yeah, 225, I think, roughly.
Plus, he's on drugs, right? And you're amped up because you've been fighting another human, right? And like I said, I always want police officers to operate from a standpoint of ensuring safety, even of criminals.
Yeah, and so I think a couple of issues I have is I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm not a legal expert, but to kind of get in some of the charges. So Derek Chauvin in his trial, he ends up getting charged with unintentional second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and second-degree manslaughter.
Correct.
And I guess I'm not as familiar with the definition of third degree murder. I'm gonna look that up real quick.
Yeah, here I got
Because
it.
like my
here.
issue
Third
is,
degree murder. So the conviction rested on Chauvin's actions created substantial danger to Floyd's life with disregard for human life as he continued kneeling despite Floyd's pleads of "I can't breathe." Really? Like the guy had been saying "I can't breathe" before you ever got down there. Second degree unintentional murder. Jury found that Chauvin caused Floyd's death while committing a felony, third degree assault, showing culpable negligence and disregard for Floyd's life. This charge did not require intent to kill, but rather that Chauvin's actions were intentional and reckless. Second degree manslaughter. Chauvin was found guilty of culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk of death by failing to adjust his restraint or provide aid as Floyd became unresponsive. And I agree with that one.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems interesting to me because like multiple of these charges are very similar in nature when I'm reading about them, and so it kind of feels like stacking on charges because it ends up adding up to 22 and a half years in prison.
Yeah, 22 and a half years in prison for state charges, and then later the feds come after him. And he pleads guilty to federal civil rights violations for depriving Floyd of his constitutional rights. Isn't that everybody that's ever murdered anybody has deprived somebody of their constitutional rights?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
and he got a concurrent 21-year sentence. What's the word concurrent mean?
He can plead guilty to that because that just means he serves at the same time. So it
Yeah,
doesn't
who
even
gives a
matter.
shit?
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. So that's why I just say 22 and a half years because at 21 years, just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I mean, that time's up while he's in prison for the state charges. So to me, that's just kind of silly. But, and then the other guy, so there's Tu Tao, J. Alexander Kung, and Thomas Lane.
Yeah.
And you notice there's a couple of like weird names in there. So before I even get into the charges, Tu Tao, hard to guess.
Sounds like a white guy.
Asian.
Oh, no way. Caught me off guard with that
And
one.
then this J. Alexander Kung guy he's black.
Named, Kung?
Yeah, well, I think his dad is black. His mom is presumably white. But yeah, I mean, the dude's black. And so, I mean, that's just another sprinkle into.
So you got a white guy, an Asian, and a black guy.
And another white guy.
And another
Two
white guy.
guys. But that's just another sprinkle into the story about how like I just think that like the race argument's BS. Because
No, absolutely.
like again, I think most of this is wrong, but again, like I just think the race argument is so stupid, which is what led to a trial that Chauvin really had no chance at. And
oh, hell no.
so maybe would have gone to jail anyways, but I don't know if we would have got 22 and a half years if it weren't for the publicity.
There's no way.
I don't know. Like again, I'm not a legal expert because I even did my own research, but even after doing my own research, what the hell do I know?
Yeah,
But
sure.
it does seem like, I don't know, just to me as like a normal person, like those three charges and a couple of them seem like, to be honest, like all three of them seem like very similar by definition.
Yeah.
Just basically unintentional, killing someone unintentionally just by not.
Well,
not
I
being
think.
careful.
Well, no. One of them I think is more important.
Second degree murder.
Is it the second degree? It's the one.
Third degree murder and the manslaughter sound pretty similar.
So like, yeah,
But then,
Yeah, so
unintentional second degree murder.
yeah. I mean, they
sounds-
all do sound variations on a theme. I'm just saying that, like,
Which I mean, it makes sense because it is like one
you should, as a
crime,
police officer, once he stopped, I would think, once somebody stopped resisting, you should check their pulse. You should take steps to roll them on their side. Like, you should do things to, ensure their survival.
Yeah.
Right. And if you don't do that, you should absolutely be punished.
Yeah. I
Right.
agree.
You go to prison for 22 fucking years?
No.
Hell no.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. Again, I'm not a legal expert, so I can't. I don't know the exact number of years or months you should face, but 22. And I'm a big guy on punishing people where it's due, and I do think that it would have been wrong for him not to serve jail time, but to that extent, it's ridiculous. But then, kind of going over to Tu Tao, the Asian guy, so he was sentenced to 3.5 years in federal prison. and then basically he was aiding and abetting second-degree manslaughter. Also some federal charges too, pretty similar. Failure to intervene, stop unreasonable force. J. Alexander Kung, similar charges, 3 years in prison. Again, aiding and abetting, second-degree manslaughter. And Thomas Lane, the white dude, again, same charges, 2.5 years. So they're all serving roughly 3 years in prison for it. In fact, I think Thomas Lane was released last year. And there goes my laptop. My laptop is dead. But yeah, so Thomas Lane serving
See, and I know, because look, I guess I'm really conflicted on a lot of this shit, right? Because on one hand, I do think people should be held to higher standards depending on the job you're in. At the same time, it's like, would I want a police officer to fear going to prison for doing their job?
Yeah, I agree.
No. Do I want them to fear going to prison for being a corrupt asshole? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I want them to fear going to prison for running around and using that position of authority to harm their community? Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Same way.
Do I want them to go to prison because due to the course of an arrest of somebody hopped up on drugs who's resisting, the fucker dies? Hell no. Like it's just the whole, like, the pun, to me, I don't know, man. The pun, I just don't see how, even 3 years or 1.5, like, I think that's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, put them on desk duty for a minute, dock their pay, or I don't know, I'm military. We dock everybody's pay for everything. I don't know what you do in the civilian world.
Yeah, I think you just go on. Yeah, I mean, at least leave. I don't know, paid or unpaid, but I think for the other cops, a few years is definitely excessive, for sure.
But I don't know. But I don't see, like, you can't slap him with 22.5 and let the other cops get off with 3. They were standing right there.
Yeah, I agree.
Are you telling me, like because again, what does that show you? It shows that you used them to testify against Derek to save their own ass. That's what you did.
That's what happened. Yeah.
And it went from the entire police chief all the way down. All the people that claim, like, the whole thing was like, hey, we've got to bury Derek Chauvin in order to make the rest of us not look like a bunch of racist assholes.
Yeah, I agree. I think, in my opinion, again, I thought I was wrong, but I think probably everybody's charges should be less. Of course, Derek Chauvin the most, but yeah, it's a bit excessive. And of course, he never even really stood a chance in court. There's just no way that something that's so publicized and also politicized, the combination of those two things makes it impossible. It's the same thing to do with the Trump trials. Like, there's just no way. Like, the whole point of, like, they talk about how they screen their jurors and stuff. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. There's no way you're screening out complete bias, like all kinds of bias. There's none. Because, like, Donald Trump is, like, the most known guy in the world. He's also one of the most polarizing guys on the planet. And so there's, like, no way you don't have people with positive or negative opinions of him. And so there's implicit bias there. And then same thing with this case. It's like there's bias because this is so heavily publicized. And then also it turned out to be politicized, which that's my issue with it.
And look at the behavior of the guy that stopped at my house, the white guy with blonde hair, concerned about the news. Look at the behavior of the two people from the World War I museum. A environment has been created in America where there is a certain segment, and I think it's large, segment of the white population desperate to prove they're not racist. And if some cops got to get fucked for the next 22.5 years for them to prove that they're not, they'll all line up and do it.
Yeah. That kind of
from the police chief down.
Yeah, police chief down, and it kind of reminds me, and I didn't get any clips of this because I think it's just too dumb to even show, but just like some of the clips that go around social media with people like talking about BLM. I'm talking white people too.
Yeah.
Talking about BLM or talking about this or that or doing their fucking poses and dances. Like, it's just the dumbest. It's the dumbest stuff. It's so 21st century.
How about Congress kneeling with their African garb on? A bunch of.
Let's turn that clip on. Let's go. Let's go back to that Word document because I think the Congress And again, I don't even mind the Neil. It's the kente cloth that they're wearing.
Yeah.
Like, my goodness, I see Nancy Pelosi and
Oh,
I
yeah.
see Chuck Schumer. They're wearing this kente cloth, which is like an African cloth, and it's like,
Did Elizabeth Warren wear the kente cloth? Did she have to remove her chieftain headdress to put the
Probably.
kente cloth on?
But like, my biggest issue with the kente cloth is that like,
Was George Floyd from fucking Africa?
exactly. There's a difference between being black and like actually being African. Like that'd be like for example, like my ancestors, I think on both sides of the family are from Germany, but like, I don't fucking like. I have no association with Germany. Like,
This is another very interesting thing to me, right?
like they're not just because he's black doesn't mean he's
like-
African. They do live in Texas and Minnesota.
Yeah, like my ancestors are from Sweden. I hate fucking IKEA, and I hate their Swedish meatballs.
Yeah, bro. It's just
I'm
like,
not gonna go dress myself. I'm not gonna make an annual pilgrimage to IKEA to celebrate my fucking Swedish heritage and eat some fucking meatballs.
Yeah.
But for some reason in America, Native Americans,
have no
African Americans, Hispanic Americans are for some, and I don't get it. Like I don't understand. Like what about your ancestry and where you came from is so fucking important. You gotta like dress up in it.
yeah,
And
I don't know. It makes no sense. Because, like, for example, like I just happen to be white because that's where my ancestors are from. But like if Germany just had a black population, I don't think I'd be any more tied to Germany then. And then the same thing goes with George Floyd, and there's other killings. They read off a list of people, but it's like how many of those people are even like actually like associated with Africa in the least bit?
Not a
like,
one.
For all I know, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, like all their like parents and ancestors have been in America longer than my ancestors.
no, and I'm gonna tell you something else. They want it both ways. Okay, because I've been at dinner and I'm not beating up on her because I love this woman to death, but a friend of mine asked her, "So where are you from?" And she was highly offended that a white guy would ask her where she was from. Like you just watch the whole body language, like whole back stiffened and very offended, right? So wait a minute. So are you African American or fucking not? Are you from there? Are you wearing a kente cloth because you hail back to fucking somewhere in Africa? She's like, and then she named the place in America she was from. And I thought that's awesome. You're right. Yeah. I'm a fucking American. I don't care what color I am. I'm an American. That's where I'm from. Yeah. But then shit like this happens all of a sudden. We're not from America anymore. We're throwing a kente cloth around our neck. We're raising the fucking Guatemalan flag or whatever the fuck. Where all of a sudden we're like, it's like, wait a minute, which one is it?
Yeah, dude, I can remember from like my youngest memories. I'm talking about since when I was little, bro. And this is like back before like racism was even like so politicized, or at least maybe I was a kid, I didn't realize it. But I always thought it was like so stupid, even when I was like fucking 5 years old, how like people of like different skin colors like they act like it's like a different thing, because it's just like it's literally just a fucking color on your damn skin. It makes no sense to me, bro. Whether you're fucking like dark, half dark, you're tan, or you're fucking white, like it's just like so fucking dumb. Because it's like I don't look at fucking like we don't look at fucking dogs and make a big difference whether or not like you might say they're black or like a black lab or a fucking what other lab. It's like it's a fucking dog, bro. Just like people are just people. I never understood that.
Okay, but I do have a really great video. My son, I have 3 Airedale Terriers. They're black and brown.
Now they might be racist.
Hang on. And my son went and got a Great Pyrenees, which is white. Now, I don't want to allude to anything here, but 3 attack the one all the time. And it's just interesting to me. It's the 3 black and brown ones attacking the white one. I mean, maybe...
Yeah, maybe racism exists in dogs.
Yeah, no, it's just he's the new one. And they know he's going to be big enough to whoop their ass.
Yeah, he's probably already big enough.
Yeah, he is.
All right, we'll go ahead and turn on this video. It's kind of a long
But a lot of
video.
people would tell you that last comment that you made, right, is because of your privilege as
it
a
definitely
white
is. It
person,
definitely is.
you get to not see it.
It definitely is. It definitely is, dude. So that's why I don't normally say it. But yeah, sometimes I wish I was just like I won't clip this part, but sometimes I wish I was just, a fat black lady, dude. That's all I gotta say.
Don't clip that.
Yeah, we're not
We
gonna
should
clip
start. We should start the whole video off with. Sometimes I just wish that's a fat
Like,
black lady.
I'll keep that in the episode because there's not enough people watch the long form. But yeah, I'm not going to clip it.
No, everything everything we're putting out now is just going to be used later if we ever get famous for somebody to try and cancel us.
Yeah.
Nobody's watching this shit right now.
I do stand by that comment though.
Good. Oh, look at the lady with the kente cloth face mask.
Yeah, I think that's what's her name? Who's the old Karen Bass? I think that might be Karen Bass.
Yeah.
I think she's one of the ones that advocated for this. But just funny because so there's other people in Congress, Democrats, that we don't agree with that actually said negative things about this. Like Ilhan Omar
Yeah.
was actually completely against this.
Yeah, good for her.
Which just because like she sees it as props, which is
Yeah,
exactly
it's
what
all
it
it
is.
is.
But here we are. Here you can just stop it there. We can see a little bit of Chuck Schumer wearing it just for fun. Chuck Schumer and his little glasses.
Thank you very much.
I mean, there ain't much to it because then
Leader.
Nancy Pelosi just lists off a ton of names.
Before we have
And
our moment of silence, which, as you indicated, is a very long time, especially with someone's knee on your neck. We gather in honor of those Americans and so many others. George Floyd,
start with the big one.
Breonna Taylor,
Another big one.
Ahmaud Arbery, Botham Jean, Terrence Kuchar, Jordan Davis, Oscar Grant, Philando Castile, Freddie Gray, Walter Scott, Tamir Rice, Michael Brown, Eric Garner, Trayvon Martin. Any other names members wish?
Sean Bell, Jordan Davis, Freddie Gray.
Love, Alphon Taylor. Anyone else? We'll now,
And are masks optional at this point? 'Cause,
well,
like,
during the
Chuck
moment
Schumer's
of
straight not wearing
silence,
them.
Yeah.
I'm sure that those
They were
who
always
have
optional
been
if you're a Democrat in power.
That's true.
hurt by all of this won't mind if you shout out names then. For those who wish to, we will now kneel for our moment of silence.
And then from here, yeah, it's just there's nothing more. They literally just kneel for I think like 9.5 minutes.
So we almost got a nasty crotch
Well,
shot.
I said
of
that
lady
was
on the
I said
left.
that was Karen Bass in the back. I'm pretty sure that's Karen Bass right there.
Yeah.
So I don't know who the other lady is. Take it back. I think that's Jerry Nadler standing.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure why he's standing.
Yeah, because if he kneeled, he'd never get back up.
That is true. It's funny because Nancy Pelosi struggles to get back up.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, it's just funny. He's wearing the mask. He's wearing his kente cloth, but he
Yeah.
doesn't even take a knee.
No,
Must have bad knees.
I'm sure. I just think he's wildly unbalanced.
Which, to be fair, the floor doesn't look that comfy to kneel on.
Heck no, but I mean, that's the least you could do is suffer a little bit of knee pain for that list of people, man.
Yeah, damn right.
Those people suffered the greatest sacrifice for America.
That lady's on the phone back there.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on now. Moment of silence. Put your phone away. Yeah, we all
Dude,
shoulder.
what in what world do you think you're doing something good and worthwhile here?
I mean, I don't even mind the kneeling part.
The narcissism is just absolutely stunning.
I think my biggest point of this video is just the kente cloth that I think it just looks really,
Yeah,
really
did
dumb.
George Floyd come over from Africa and as a H-1B1 visa holder and get killed?
You would have thought that he built a boat.
Hey,
and
that's
just
why.
crossed the river.
Why is the actual dark-skinned guy not wearing a kente cloth?
Well, I don't know if he's dark skinned, but
Well, I mean, he's darker than the rest.
darker than Chuck Schumer. I'll tell you that. Karen Bass not covering up her nose. Well, maybe she is. I don't even know it's Karen Bass to be honest. It looks like her though.
I don't know what that is, but
That's the L.A. mayor.
I like the lady in blue who's just got it over one shoulder right there.
Yeah, we don't have to watch all this. I don't even know why we're watching this.
Yeah.
At this point, like nothing happens for the next few minutes.
Yeah.
And at the end, it's just funny because Nancy Pelosi struggles to get up, but she blames it on her heels. But
Sure.
whatever. But yeah, I think the kente cloth is just hilariously just bad because if anything, like to me, like call me crazy. And I don't even care one way or the other that much. I think it's just dumb. But like if like to me, that just seems like more racist to have a fucking black guy and just assume that he
Yeah.
wants you to wear.
How's
the
that
kente
not
cloth.
blackface?
Definitely. Is.
How's that not cultural appropriation?
I don't know. It's just dumb.
I'm just trying to keep
It's
these.
just
I'm just
dumb.
trying to understand the
maybe
rules.
maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people who know George Floyd, maybe George Floyd in private dressed up in kente cloths and stuff.
Yeah.
but who the hell knows?
Yeah, I know. Right.
And, so we'll go ahead and back out of this, and we got some other clips to go through. Actually, we'll kind of get through some of the clips and break it up a bit here.
Now, I don't know if you have any list of things to talk about, but at some point I want to get into it. What I believe is the ultimate motivating factor behind all this. All right.
Well, I'm sure. I don't have anything on what you're going to talk about. Let's hear it.
Well, so Patrice Cullors and Alicia Garza, the founders of BLM.
Yep.
Okay. And they removed this from their website. But right now I'm reading this straight from Wall Street Journal. And I remember it was on their website up until they got called out for it.
Yeah, I remember looking at a lot of stuff on the website that was really not really good stuff.
Yep. So they are trained by Marxist ideologues. Ms. Cullors in radical left activist Eric Mann's Labor Community Strategy Center, and Ms. Garza in Gramscian scholar Harmony Goldberg's School of Unity and Liberation. And so this is one of the things that, like, again, like, I think you have to understand this in order to understand the news correctly. Okay? I can point back to a book, and I've talked about it previously on here. It's written in Germany in 1888 or so, and it loosely translates the title of it to The Woman in Socialism. Okay? Capitalism is literally the key to human prosperity and freedom. And as long as capitalism has been in existence, right, which interestingly enough, capitalism is always in existence. Capitalism is literally just the absence of control.
Yeah.
It's just two people coming together and choosing to exchange goods and services of their own free will and choice. That's it. And but the ultimate, one of the things that I find interesting is that, to me, the war has always been between freedom and control. One side wanting control, one side wanting freedom. And socialism and communism, which essentially to me are like damn near the same thing. Marxism, right? Their whole goal is to destroy capitalism. And America, as the beacon, the forefront of capitalism, is the target.
Yeah.
And it always has been. And they have identified key methodologies of harming and hurting America. Number one, the first and most powerful one, is women. That's why that book, The Woman in Socialism, is all about how the nuclear family is the key component of capitalism. And that you have to get women to stop being mothers. You have to separate the woman from the home and from the children. You have to get the state to take control of the kids. You have to get the state to take control of the education. You have to get the state to get the woman out of the home and into the workforce. And they've known this since the 1880s.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the second most significant tool they use is race wars.
Oh, definitely.
And so everything that you're watching here is society, Americans, being manipulated by trained Marxists, by socialists and communists, right, who operate under the guise of being Democrats, to try and take control away from everybody and to consolidate that control and consolidate that power. They use 9/11 to do it. They use race to do it.
Definitely race.
They use the civil rights movement to do it. They use the LGBTQ movement to do it. It is all, like, I've talked about a video that the Blaze and Glenn Beck first published, and it's a LGBTQ conference, and the woman's talking about what she doesn't like about the movement. It's that they have to lie about not wanting to get rid of marriage, when in reality they're absolutely wanting to get rid of marriage, because getting rid of marriage destroys the nuclear family. Getting women to quit having children and getting women to go into the workplace destroys the nuclear family. Getting all this shit destroys. It's all done to destroy capitalism. I think, and that's all this is.
Yeah.
And you just watch everything the media says and everything the media does. It's all just designed to destroy capitalism. So, anyways, that's what I believe the over. And I know I sound like a conspiracy lunatic or something.
That's the fun part, though. Here, I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick.
All right.
Let's get right back into what we were just talking about, though, because I do remember pretty vividly on their website about the nuclear family that they wanted to dismantle. That was like one of their goals and objectives.
Yes.
Which is like crazy to me because I don't even know like what good's gonna come out of that. Like why that of all things? Granted, they had a bunch of
we're recording right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you have to understand like that there is this right. So why would people be against capitalism? What's the arguments against capitalism?
That the rich get so rich.
Correct. Right. It's disparity. Right. It's a lack of equality. Okay. And so there is this mindset or this belief that equality is something that can be achieved. Right? Now, equality can be achieved. For the most part, right? I could, if I'm a slave owner, my slaves are pretty much equal. Most of them, I'd say 90%, right? You're always gonna have like the one in the house and, the one that you use to control the others, right? But the bulk are going to be equal.
It's an appropriate episode to use the slave analogy.
Well, I mean, but because equality results in slavery.
Yeah, no, I know exactly. I mean, that's pretty much the best analogy you can use.
No,
that's what it is. Because it's like, it literally is slavery because it's like you're basically stuck, just at the level forever. But yeah, at least you're equal to the people around you.
Correct. And there are people that think that is more moral and more just than in a world like in a capitalist society where you can have an Elon Musk, right? That nobody should be able to attain a status above other people. Okay.
Go ahead.
So I was picking my daughter up from her dance class, and there's a car. Give you 10 guesses as to which brand. See if you can get it right. But on the back of it, it has a sticker that says, "The only minority harming America are billionaires."
Well,
you want to take a stab in the dark as to what brand of vehicle?
I could name some that it wouldn't be, but probably like a Toyota or something. Subaru.
There you go. He got it on his first guess. Subaru.
I kind of half guess, yes. But yeah, that hit me pretty quick, yeah.
On a fucking Subaru. Go figure.
Yeah.
Right? Now, and again, right, there's this problem in regards to the way people think, right? And I don't know why we're so inclined to think this way, right? But when discussing global warming and fossil fuels, how often does anybody talk about all the positive things that come from fossil fuels? They don't. It's just all the negative, right? When talking about the billionaires and putting them down, where is the acknowledgement of all the good that comes from it, right? So, and then again, not to be conspiratorial, but you have to go back to actually, there's a book sitting right next to you, The Moral Case for Fossil Fuels. It has direct quotes from the leaders and the purveyors of the anti-fossil fuel movement. And they ask one of them what he thinks about cold fusion, nuclear fusion, which there is no negative to. And the guy says it would be the absolute worst thing to happen, because they believe that humanity is a scourge. And one of them even said that if he could get reincarnated, he'd love to come back as a virus that would wipe out humanity. These people are not, all the quotes are there. You gotta read The Moral Case for Fossil Fuel. All the quotes are there. These are the people, the advisor to Barack Obama on environmental science. Okay, these are not non-influential people hidden in the background. These are people that are in positions of authority and power, the ability to create policy. They are not interested in you having energy. They hate capitalism because capitalism requires energy. They do not want the nuclear family intact because what comes from nuclear families? Why is a lawn racist? Go Google that one. Are green grass lawns racist? There's articles written about how they are.
I assume it's because of just a family that's put together is the one keeping up the yard. I don't know.
Yeah, and so I think that a lot of people don't realize that a lot of what's being pushed out into your conscious that is shaping your thoughts about the world all has a singular source it stems from. And that's Marxist ideology, communism, socialism. It's control, government control of you. And all these race riots, the BLM, the entire BLM movement is an offshoot of Marxism. It's fomenting discord and strife and tearing America apart to destroy capitalism.
I mean, they're definitely trying to interrupt, I guess, the status quo, and it's just funny to me how much the BLM movement in general is like, or is and was like anti-Trump, which part of the reason why it was such a big deal back in 2020 because of the election, but
yeah, and you got
it's a whole
this is a good spot to put the clip in that I gave you, right? Because what did the two founders of BLM actually end up doing with all the money they raised? So I showed you a clip earlier of the little boy and the I don't know what those sausage links or something on his plate, and he has two. His dad has one. His mom has none, and his mom asked for one. And he looks at his, and he starts to give her one of his, and he's like, yeah, screw that shit. I'm a future Democrat politician. Let me take my dad's, snap it in half, put half back on his plate and half on your plate while keeping the two for myself. So what ended up happening with these two leaders, these two founders of the BLM movement, these trained Marxists? They funneled millions of dollars into multiple properties around the world, all under the guise of their charitable organization. It's always what happens. So when I was saying that, like, yeah, you can create a level of equality where you can get 90, 95%, there's always the elite at the top that are putting themselves above you. And they're creating a system where you're not going to ever be able to accomplish that. And they're doing it as leeches off of the backs of everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, that sums up the BLM movement altogether.
But in capitalism, I'm free to attain just as much wealth as the slimy politician who put themselves in power, if not even more. Because it's not being controlled by the government. And that's all any of this shit is just a way to tear down America. And yeah, I don't know. I wish I could like do a better job of.
Yeah. And I think I always come back to just how the media enables it.
They do.
Which is my big issue. And I mean, it started just from the get-go before the whole summer even started in 2020. But there's some other things brewing up. I'm pretty sure Breonna Taylor was beforehand, and but then George Floyd was like kind of the catalyst for everything. And the reason why it was such a catalyst because the whole summer that body cam footage wasn't out there. The body cam footage didn't come out till August, and people still would have freaked out anyways. But at least we would have had more information to go off of. And that came in August. I think it was like early August, which is like almost 2.5, 3 months after this incident. And so all people had to go off of was just those, people on the sidewalk screaming and yelling.
Yep.
And George Floyd at that point not resisting. And but you don't see the 10, 15 minutes that led up to that. Not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm saying there's that, and then also the media is what really pushed the race agenda. But that's why it pissed me off about, like, we did a video on that what's his name? Carmelo Anthony guy. Yeah. And like I think the race argument there is dumb as hell. And there's not really much of a race argument by comparison. Like obviously you don't see people like rioting and looting. But like that's a dumb argument too, because it's just like, bro, like there can be like
Well, they can't riot and loot because he's the one that killed the kid.
Yeah. But like, it's
He's
just like,
fine.
It's like people dying, not ideal, but like it can be black on white, white on black, Asian on Indian, blah, 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 anything. Like sometimes it's just like killing and death. It's not always the race card.
No.
And that pisses me off. In fact, that actually wants me.
I would tell you the majority. I would actually tell you that it's a provable fact that is not. How do you know it isn't? Because who are the majority of people that black people kill? Blacks. Who's the majority of people white people kill? Whites.
Yeah.
The majority of people killing people are of their same ethnic group because we cluster together as a society.
Yeah.
People aren't driving along rarely. I mean, it happens occasionally, right? Where somebody will go, some anti-Semite will travel, to go kill some Jews, or some racist will travel somewhere to go kill some blacks. Or you have this situation. Now, this is true. I think the guy's got definitely what was coming to him. The white guys that killed that black guy who was jogging.
Oh, yeah. That's a little different, though.
Right.
That's much different than a George Floyd or, this video that we're about to get into that has zero tie to race at all whatsoever. So, and I think this one pisses me off a lot because I've had arguments with people on this particular case.
All right.
Rayshard Brooks here. So let's go ahead and start with the body cam. I got two videos. So I got body cam and surveillance video. And just because you'll see the body cam doesn't quite show everything. The surveillance maybe a little bit more, arguably a little more graphic. Go ahead and get that
I bet you if you clicked enable editing, you'd be able to click right on the link.
No, if she can hit control, but then it opens up weird, and that's probably because her computer's got Microsoft Edge as default or something. Let's go ahead and get that pulled up, though. It's all good, though. All right, so this is a body cam. Before we really get into this is Wendy's.
And this is a guy that fell asleep in the Wendy's drive-thru, right?
Yeah. So this is
and then he takes off running or something. They shoot him in the back.
Yeah. So we'll see it before we really talk too much about it. But
I remember this.
He's in this white Camry here, Corolla, whatever that white car is.
Yeah.
And he's asleep. And what frustrates me about this, I even put a timestamp on it. It's like, and the comment I read about it was hilarious. It's like, they wake him up nicer than my mom woke me up for school. And you'll see it. Go like, just skip forward like 10 seconds or so. 10, 15 seconds. Huh? Just skip forward like 10 seconds. So go like, I don't know, 25 seconds in. Yeah, that's good.
Yo. What's up, my man?
What's up, my man?
Hey. Come in.
It is out.
Hey. Hey, man, you're parked in the middle of the drive-thru line here. Hey. Sir. What's up, man?
What's
Hey,
up,
you're
man?
parked in the drive-thru right now. Hey, sir. You right? Dude, you're parked.
In case
you're
this isn't
sitting in the
obvious, he was
drive-thru
driving
line
drunk.
Oh, of course.
What's up? So you're parked in the drive-thru line. You're blocking traffic here. You were sleeping when I walked up here. What's up, man? You just have a long day or something? What's up? All right, yeah, you can't. You're blocking. People calling said you were blocking me. All right.
He must have
Good?
been
You
out
don't
for
need
a while.
an ambulance or anything like that?
Yeah.
But
Tired?
then people have to start calling and stuff.
Yeah.
All right, man. Just I'll move my car. Just pull up. Just pull somewhere and take a nap. All right. All right. You good?
And so the next
All
little
right.
bit's kind of boring. So we can kind of let's go ahead and search through the video a little bit. Yeah, go like 7 minutes. Yeah, there. Yeah, just roughly there. Maybe a little further.
Available DUI certified officers.
It's kind of a long video. Go, just keep searching through the video. Keep going. Go like 15 minutes. More, 20 minutes.
I'm just standing by with them right now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter too much. I just want to get an idea of like.
Do you have any medical conditions, physical defect?
Basically, I'm just getting at the fact that incredibly cordial.
Yeah.
And this dude is driving intoxicated and falling asleep in a women's park.
Yeah.
Like they don't have to be this nice to him.
Can you take your hat off for me? Just leave it in your car for me.
And so we're already like, what, 20 minutes into this confrontation?
Yeah.
And so it's still.
That's
Do you
nice.
have any weapons on you or anything like that?
I don't have anything on me.
Is it okay if I pat you down? Just make sure.
I have just money, gas, and that was it.
Is it okay if I pat you down to make sure you don't have any weapons?
Absolutely.
Can you just turn around, face away from me real quick? What is this? Is it just a bunch of money in your pocket?
It's just my wallet.
What's all this?
It's just money.
How much money do you have in your pocket?
I mean, maybe a couple $100.
Okay. Like a bunch of ones and stuff? Here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just walk over here with me, please.
I love this video where this cop's patting this black dude down. He's like, what is this? What do you got in that? Well, he's like, dude, this is a dick.
I'm sorry, my guy.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so basically here he does a sobriety test and he fails pretty poorly. He does pretty poorly at it. So we can keep going.
Yeah, we've all been there, you know.
Yeah, keep searching a little bit. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going.
Can you walk in them without falling, stumbling, anything like that?
Keep going.
Staggering?
Try to get to the point where they start kind of handcuffing him, putting their.
Can you walk in them
Keep
okay?
going. All right. Go back like. Yeah, right there. Right there.
I mean, they are comfortable, but
4115.
Don't mix
Oh,
salt
goodness.
with these 3 ingredients if you don't want the Mounjaro effect on your body and your pants loosen.
It'd be like that. All right.
Just click the X up top.
Right. All right, like 4115.
Sleeping in there, so that's why I was making sure
Go
you're
for it
okay.
in a minute.
And then that's.
I know.
Go back 30 seconds.
My daughter's birthday intent.
Sorry. I'm trying to
Have a good time.
get to where the actual action happens here.
I'm hungry.
And the
Let's
body
go.
cam, you really don't see as much, but it's a
baby's
good,
mom,
it's still a good view.
She was there. I said, babe, go ahead.
Or tap forward like 20 seconds.
Cool. Here's the money for
Yeah, that's
blow
fine.
up bed tomorrow. Here's
That's
the
not
money
worth it.
for,
It's not even worth it.
to enjoy herself tomorrow. Just, give me a burger or something.
So it's still pretty.
Just take me home. I'm ready to go.
So you had about 1.5 drinks, but you don't remember what kind of drinks they were?
No, sir.
All right.
I really don't, Mr. Ross.
All right, I think you've had too much to drink to be driving. Put your hands behind your back for me. Here, put your hands behind your back. Hey, stop fighting! Stop fighting! Stop fighting! Stop fighting! You're gonna get tased! You're gonna get tased! Stop!
Mr. Ross.
Stop!
Down on the ground.
Stop! You're gonna get tased! Mr. Ross! Hands off the fucking taser! Hands off the taser! Stop fighting! Hands off the taser!
So he's trying to get the cop's taser.
He takes the cop's taser.
Stop fighting! Got my fucking taser!
Still trying to get him. He's got the taser. This cop tased him with his taser.
63.
And that's it. You can pause it and let's go to the surveillance video. And so what happens there, and we'll see on the surveillance video, is, well, obviously, first off, he completely resists arrest and tries running away.
Yeah.
And he's fighting with cops physically on the ground, like they're physically fighting on the ground. And then he takes the cop's weapon. In this case, he got his hands on the taser because that's the weapon that was out. So presumably if it was a gun, he would have been taking the guy's gun, but he just takes the guy's taser, starts running away, and then turns around and starts shooting that taser at the cops. And then they shoot him. And the amount of gaslighting I felt when I had to have people explain to me that this is racism and this is like police brutality, I was like, what kind of crazy world do we live in? That, well, first off, you're fucking driving drunk.
Yeah.
So you like
putting everybody at risk.
Yeah. But like, okay, you got to go to jail for that. That's just how it goes. Everybody knows that's what happens.
Yeah.
Like that's just like you see that on TV shows and movies all the time. But then you start resisting, not only resisting arrest, but literally fighting the cops.
Yes.
And then not only are you resisting arrest and fighting the cops, but then you are stealing the cop's weapon. And then not only that, then you get up and start running from the cops. And then not only are you running from the cops, when you turn around and shoot the weapon at the cops.
Yeah.
And then he gets shot, and he ends up dying on the way to the hospital or in the hospital.
Yeah.
And then I gotta sit here and have people explain to me that this is part of what like led to BLM riots. I'm like, this is the stupidest shit ever. This is way stupid. Like George Floyd, I'm like, oh, that's horrible, horrible, horrible. But this is just stupid, bro.
No. Okay, so let me just preface this with: in a perfect world, hang on. In a perfect world, even though he had stolen the taser when he was running away, I wouldn't have shot him. In a perfect world, I'm not saying that's what would happen. I'm not saying that's what would happen.
Some dumb shit though.
But the minute you turn and fire a taser at me and I'm armed, what can I not afford to allow to have happen? I cannot afford to allow myself to be subdued because then you have my firearm.
Well, yeah. Well, exactly.
So the minute you turn and you fire that taser at me, even though it's non-lethal, I have lethal. You've shown propensity to exert violence towards me. I have a lethal weapon on me. I cannot allow you to gain access to that weapon.
Exactly.
So I have to shoot you. And we don't shoot to maim. You always shoot to kill. Those are the rules.
Yeah, whether or not you shoot to kill, I don't even.
Well, you don't have a choice. You shoot center mass.
Yeah, yeah. Well, exactly. And so he did get shot in the back, and people are like saying, "It's like, oh, well, you know, that's what's racist. You got shot in the back." I'm like, bro, it's the dumbest thing ever. Like, I thought this video was so dumb, and this is actually like a big deal. And I remember there's some people that I got in arguments with. I'm like, and they're talking about this case, and I'm like, how is this an example of like racism?
No.
Like, it's just like. This case is completely bizarre. I also don't think the George Floyd thing was bizarre or racism, but this is completely bizarre. I was like, dude, at what point?
No. It's just there's this huge percentage of useful idiots.
Yeah, it's just does this Brooks guy actually have to have a gun and start shooting at the cops in a parking lot full of people, and then maybe we can shoot at him? Like my gosh, dude.
No.
I didn't want him to die. I think he deserves to go to jail. But like, my goodness, bro. The
problem is the minute you turn and you open fire on a cop, even with a taser, I'm sorry, you have to be shot.
Well, yeah, and that's after like him fighting with him physically on the ground too.
Yeah,
like we're not just gonna pass by that. And like, not only is it did he tase him, but like this is a weapon that he stole from them.
Yeah.
It's not like he pulled out his own taser. He literally fought him and then got the taser.
Yeah.
Like they're literally on the ground, and that's where they're fighting. Like,
yeah,
like they weren't even on the ground to begin with. He was standing up when they were handcuffing him. That's where he should
have
been.
They're being nice.
Yeah,
they're being super nice.
If I was drunk driving, like I don't even think they.
So did he have like another record? Did he have bench warrants? Was he in trouble for other shit and he didn't want to go to jail once they got him, or what was the deal?
I don't even know. I mean, I think he's just an idiot and drunk.
I mean, apparently,
and drunk and drinking way too much. But yeah, that's all there. But that was just like another example of something, and there's other ones too. And like in the Kente Cloth one, they recognized Breonna Taylor second to George Floyd. And
now Breonna Taylor, I don't know a lot about that one, but from what I understood, they were doing a no warrant or a no knock warrant on her boyfriend's place. She was in bed, shots were fired, she got shot and killed. Right?
Yeah, but that one is not as like this is pretty egregious. That one is like. So like what happens is that her boyfriend, and like I don't fault him for this, and he ends up surviving. I don't know if he gets shot, maybe he gets shot like once, but like he fires at the cops.
Yeah, they don't know they don't announce who they are or something.
Well, exactly,
right? They're doing a no knock warrant, so they don't announce who they are. They kick in the door.
I don't fault him for shooting, but then the issue comes from the fact that I think that was the only shot he ended up taking. He did hit a cop, but I think there was like somewhere between 30 to 40 shots returned.
Well, yeah, because there's more than one cop, and they're going to all unload.
Oh yeah, well that's exactly it.
Once a shot's fired,
one guy shot and they moved. Another guy just emptied a whole mag.
Yeah,
and then claims he forgot how many shots he shot. He doesn't even remember.
Well,
shooting.
It's not like you're counting.
Yeah, but
only in movies is some assassin so good he's like counting shots as he goes.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead. We're good there. I just want to show that. But like even then though,
I mean, the Breonna Taylor thing to me seemed more of an accident than anything.
Well, again, like the Breonna Taylor, but
there you go. So he doesn't turn. He points back behind him. His body turns obviously the motion that would be required.
Oh no, he shot the taser.
No, I know he did. So he points back behind with the taser to fire it. It rotates his upper body backwards, but he doesn't completely turn, which is why he's shot in the back. Yeah. So yeah, I got bad news for you. You're getting shot.
Because the other cop had already attempted to tase him. I'm not sure if it landed or not because you really can't even tell.
Yeah.
So we'll go back out to the other videos, but yeah, even like Breonna Taylor, it's like even though it's again tragic, but like there's again zero, like every bit of racism is pure speculation. But so yeah, I think it's goofy. And then not that we really need to watch these, but I got a couple videos in here of them like showcasing the statues of George Floyd. So you got one in New Jersey, one in New York.
It's so crazy.
It's crazy. We don't even need to watch it. It's so stupid. But one thing that we should watch is this Minneapolis mayor.
Cry.
Dude, this is pathetic. We're kind of going a little bit jumping out order, but this one's pretty bad, dude. Like, and everybody's just roasting him in the comments.
What the heck?
And like, this is just the mayor. Like, this guy doesn't know George
You don't know.
Floyd.
You've never met him.
Like, don't be the main. Don't try to be the main character because he's up here like a whole minute doing this shit.
Yeah. This white liberal narcissism, man.
Let's wait for the other angle too. Yeah, he's just there. What a.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry, but this is just.
Somebody award him an Oscar.
Yeah, it's stupid as hell, dude.
Well, what's up with that douche boy haircut, man?
It's just dumb. Everybody's roasting.
Oh, it's COVID. He probably couldn't get a real haircut.
Yeah, but yeah,
barbershops were shut down.
Everybody's roasting him in the comments, saying stuff like "give him an Oscar."
Now, which one of the 5 funerals was this? Didn't he have like 5 funerals?
Yeah,
this is the one with Obama.
Yeah, this is. Well, I don't know stuff with Obama, but
Didn't Obama like deliver a eulogy for him or something?
This is like his memorial, so I don't even know if George Floyd's body's in there. I assume it is, but they got the gold casket and everything. But yeah, we can move on. Yeah, then he just walks away, just like
holy cow,
like a weak man. Yeah, so it's pretty stupid. If you read the comments, everybody's just roasting him in there
as well as they should.
And then yeah, there's a couple other things in there.
Hey, we got Tim Walz, the code switcher, to help Democrats connect.
We can go ahead and pull this up. It's not much, but this is just a more recent clip. So this is from this past weekend. And him talking because he's governor.
How has this guy not disappeared yet?
So he's the governor of Minnesota. So that's why.
Wait, he still is? Didn't he have to give that up in order to run for VP?
Well, you don't get the second job. You go back to the first.
I guess. I thought you had to give that up in order to run.
I don't think so, dude. I think it's just like in reality, like you're not really doing that much. You kind of just put that shit on pause. But yeah, he just basically goes on to say he doesn't know if like the changes.
And I said, if we don't make changes now, I don't know if we're ever going to. And it felt that sense of urgency. And I stand here today as governor 5 years later, recognizing that the change that we want to see has not come. Progress on the issue of equity and basic human and civil rights, that's kind of an all or nothing proposition.
All or nothing. It's an all or nothing proposition.
I'm not sure we're any closer than
we have no human rights in America.
A couple days afterwards, where George Floyd was murdered and got asked by a reporter, and I said,
yeah, it's interesting. So that's Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, talking about it, and that's just that. I believe there's an event for George Floyd, like a little anniversary event. So we can go ahead and back out of this. We don't need to say this.
Yeah. So there are no. It's an all or nothing proposition. You have no civil human rights in America. I'm sure, unless you look like Tim Walz.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think there's maybe a list of things he wants, but I don't know. I think.
So thousands of riots, thousands of people, 19 people were killed.
Yeah, we want to. We got a compilation of BLM riots here.
Yeah. Let's watch these mostly peaceful riots.
And this just happens to be a 5-hour compilation.
5 hours.
Well, there's way more, of course, but I just thought having a 5-hour one was funny. But yeah, you could have a 5,000-hour compilation because there's thousands of protests.
Yeah.
And this we can literally just skip through. This is just random clips.
Just go to the speed. Go to the little ratchet, the little
So it looks like they're probably looting a target right there.
What's that? What do you call that? The sprocket. Go to the sprocket over to the right by the, you know what I'm talking about, by the CC.
The settings.
Click that and go to speed. Is there speed? Why isn't there speed?
There usually is.
How weird is that? All right, never mind. Just click play.
Or
maybe it has to be playing in order for that to come up.
I don't even know. It doesn't even matter. Just start playing and click through it. Abby's our little... She's at our command. We apologize, Abby.
All right, now
yelling commands at her.
Yeah. Look at that guy on the ground begging not to get beat.
Oh, this is light work here. This ain't nothing here.
Oh,
I think maybe he's wearing mag hats.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Better run, white boy. The mobs are coming.
Imagine the flip side. Imagine that was one black dude.
Oh, my
thousand
goodness.
white people chasing after him.
Who's getting their ass beat here?
White dude.
No. Oh, it is. Oh, shit. He got fucked.
Yeah, we don't need it. Hey, I don't want to even show that on. Just keep going. Yeah, we don't. Not that I mind, but YouTube doesn't. Must really want us to show that. Huh?
She's looking for more explicit instruction.
Just skipping. I mean, this video is just random clips, so just.
I mean, I think we get the point. I got another story for you. All right, you can hit pause on it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
All right. So when this happened, you know, it was really interesting for me. A number of things all occurred at the same time for me in my life. By December of 2019, the previous 4 years, 4 years earlier, I'd bought this business, and everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong, and I was just getting my butt kicked and trying to survive day to day. I was working multiple other jobs. It was tough. And then in December of 2019, like my revenue tripled, and I didn't really know what was going on. And then it continued to increase throughout 2020. And so while COVID was happening, I was finally achieving success financially. And it makes you feel some really weird ways, right? When you're watching everybody else get shut down. I'm watching my friends' businesses. I'm driving by friends of ours who have a flooring company, and every single one of their trucks is sitting in the parking lot. And you know, there's all this talk of like imposter syndrome and all this other stuff, right? And it's like, here I am finally thriving as the entire country is shutting down. And I'm watching all these friends of mine that own businesses struggle. And then this shit starts. And here I am with more than I've ever had, right? Financially. So I take my wife and 3 daughters to a nail salon. And we just, for some reason, we just happen to be the only white people in there, and everybody else are black women. And so as we're leaving, I go up and pay my bill. And so somewhere during COVID too, I liked that people were putting themselves out there and working. And so I started trying to, and I felt like I had all this that I didn't really deserve. And so I started trying to like push it out. And the way that I chose to push it out was through tips and people that were out there and trying to thank people for putting themselves, showing up to work and that kind of mentality, right? So I, when I'm paying my tab for the 4 of us, I just go ahead and cover everybody in the nail salon. And I'd make sure to tell them, you know, don't tell anybody, but here, just put everybody's nails and Manny's petties on my tab or whatever. And then I turn around and leave. I'm like almost to my car when like 3 women come running out of the store and they thank me for paying for their nails or whatever. I'm like, well, you weren't supposed to know or whatever, but you know, you're more than welcome. And we engaged in this cool conversation. I remember at the time, part of it was about how, you know, just in a time like this, where there's all these heightened tensions, right? Just to do little acts of kindness for one another, it might be helpful. That was it.
Yeah.
Right? So this kind of becomes a thing everywhere we go to just try and it wasn't always, it wasn't like it was just black people. It was just anybody and everybody trying to do something for her, right? So we have a membership at a gun range up near the Legends, and we load up our expedition and we go to spend the morning shooting guns. Then we all head over to lunch to some restaurant at the Legends. I think it was Granite City Brewery or something. Well, what's interesting about this place is all the front staff, the hostess and the waitresses, they're all white. All the kitchen staff's black, all right, which comes into play here in a minute. We walk in, and it just happens to be like there's only like 4 tables or something of people, and they just all happen to be, again, African American, right? We're the only white people in there, and we sit down, we get our drinks, get appetizers ordered. I get up to go to the bathroom. When I do, I pull the waitress aside. I'm like, hey, don't tell anybody, but whatever, but just put everybody's tab on my bill, and I'll cover it, right? And anybody that comes in while I'm here, just keep doing that. Well, we had just come from a gun range. It's 2020, right? I'm head to toe in Trump shit. So I got the red hat from the Trump golf line. So it's not a Make America Great hat, but it's red, and in white letters it says Trump across it. I'm wearing a baby blue long sleeve polo that's got the American flag on the shoulder and Trump across the breast. I have white golf shorts on that in black lettering across above the rear pocket says Trump. And so unbeknownst, I'll get that. Unbeknownst to me, the waitress thinks it's so neat that a white guy who's supporting Trump would pay for black people's lunches. She goes around and fucking tells everybody. All right? So there's this older couple that looks like they just came from church in the movie The Color Purple or something. Fruit basket on the head, white gloves, zoot suit. I mean, they're decked to the nines, right? And they're older and got the gray hair, and they're, it's cutest little couples. They come walking over, and they thank me for buying their lunch. I'm like, well, you weren't even supposed to know. How'd you know? And they're like, oh, we just guessed. And I'm like, okay. And out the door they go. Then this guy comes wheeling over, and he's got like a busted leg, and he's got one of these little scooters that you can put your broken leg on and tool around. And he's there with 2 women, and he comes over, and it was like his mom and his sister or something, and he comes up to me, he goes, hey, thanks for picking up lunch or whatever, and he says something I could see, we probably don't agree on things. I'm like, yeah, isn't that beautiful? Why do we have to? We don't have the same political views, and we have this incredible conversation. I mean, it's like 10 minutes, and it's emotional, where we just talk about how, we don't have to agree politically on things, but we can still treat each other with respect and do little acts of kindness for one another, right? So they get up to leave. We're still eating. They go outside. Somebody from the kitchen, I think that knew them, comes out and follows them. A couple minutes later, the guy comes back in. The same guy that I literally just had this great conversation with, that I thought was like building bridges and emotional and just fucking goes off on me. Tells me about how they don't need my charity, blah, blah, blah. They can afford to pay their own meal. I'm like, dude, obviously you came here. I wouldn't think you wouldn't have come here if you couldn't. And now at that point, this white family had been sat next to us. All they had gotten was drinks. It gets so heated, and it's all one side. I'm not saying shit, really, that they get up and just fucking bounce. The waitress and the manager come over, ask the guy to leave or whatever. He leaves. The waitress is bawling, and she's all apologizing. That's how I found out. She went around and told people. And I was like, well, you knew you weren't, I had asked you not to, but it's fine. Your behavior is not the cause of their behavior. Like, it would have been nice if you had, respected my wishes, right? But just because you didn't doesn't make you responsible for that shit. Yeah. Right? And I just thought it was really interesting that without somebody else insinuating and putting shit into his head, everything was positive and good. But somebody insinuates and puts something into his head, and it completely turns the situation. So we leave. And my ex is from Oklahoma, and I always joke that, like, you know, she loves to try and get my ass thrown into jail. Now, also in the back of my Expedition is just nothing but guns and ammo. We just spent the morning shooting. And I'm just sitting here, I can only imagine the headline. White guy attempts to buy people lunch, shoots them instead. So, like, as we go out, and they're outside, and it starts to get nasty. And Aubrey starts running her mouth. I'm yelling at her to shut up and get in the fucking car. I'm just trying to diffuse the situation and get us the fuck out of there. People from the kitchen staff are outside. They're filming us with their cell phones. And I'm like, this shit is going to get bad fast. Hours later, we're at home in the driveway. The manager, the whole restaurant got shut down. Not permanently. Literally, they had to shut the place down because a fight broke out between the kitchen staff and the front staff, the waitresses and the hostesses. Because the kitchen staff thought that by me doing that, I'm like subjugating them or something. I don't know. I was like, can't you just call it reparations and take it?
Yeah, there you go.
Right. And then the white people thought it was really great that I did. The black people thought it was really bad. This fight breaks out between the kitchen staff and the wait staff, and the whole restaurant, the cops have to come. The restaurant's shut down. Everybody's dispersed. And we're on the phone with the manager hours later. And I'm just sitting here going, what the fuck has happened in this country? Right? Like you can't even do a simple act of kindness without your motivations being questioned and the worst being assumed. It's just nuts.
Like you said, it's it sounds just like the media. Like the guy coming back in, the only reason why he changed his opinion is because he heard someone else. It's the same thing as the media. Like somebody could realistically think one thing, but then they hear the media hear this and that all the time. And then
like there was never a negative thought to this guy's head or mine until somebody else comes and interjects some completely opposite narrative. They don't know me. They didn't come talk to me. They just see it's a white guy with a Trump hat on. And now they got to go and attack him for letting me buy him lunch?
Man, I'd let a dude wearing a white dudes for Harris shirt buy me lunch.
I'd let
I'd let
one of the Islamic terrorists that flew the planes on 9/11 buy me lunch.
Same.
Like, you want to buy me lunch? Yeah. I'll take your money.
Hell yeah, dude. Money's money, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it all comes back down to media at the end, and the whole race tension is largely media driven, and it's like they're kind of making something out of nothing, like this whole police issue. And it reminds me of an earlier podcast that we did, completely unrelated, but like the air traffic controllers and all those planes.
Yep.
And it's like, holy shit. It's like, air travel is going to hell. Like it's like, it's fucking horrible. And then you look at the data, it's actually like less bad.
Yeah. It's less
than
bad.
It has been. And it's just like, but that just goes to show that like the mainstream media, even though it might be becoming like less and less relevant as time goes on, it still drives public opinion still.
Oh, it does. It does. They're just there to foment discord, turn us against each other. They have to spin you up to where you can't even let somebody do something nice. I mean, imagine that world, right? Where anything somebody's trying to do to build bridges and connect and help is now viewed through the lens of you're my enemy, and I can't even allow or tolerate you to do that.
It's messed up, dude.
Yeah. That's some fucked up shit.
Yeah. That's just the world we live in.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll be honest. Do you think I did that ever again?
Probably not.
Hell no.
Ain't worth the trouble.
Hell no.
Just stick to putting a big tip down or something.
I'll just keep my money, and then I'm the bad guy who's got money and just keeps it. Well,
I don't blame you.
I mean, the alternative is I shut the restaurant down. Like some crazy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the perks of living in the 21st century. We're making problems out of nothing, and we got social media and just legacy media pushing that on us.
Absolutely.
And that's just how it is going to be probably for the rest of humanity.
Oh, no, it's just getting worse. I'm very curious. What's your Katie Blackwell in court clip?
So depending on how much time we have, it's not that, like, the clip itself is not long, but the Katie Blackwell is, so she's the one who testified in court about Derek Chauvin and the way he's kneeling on George Floyd's neck. And she's the one who's like in charge, at least at the time, of, I guess, like police training for the Minneapolis Police Department.
Okay.
And so in this video, she insinuates that, like, she doesn't really know what he's doing, even though in some of the training materials,
the maximum restraint, which is
similar.
which is taught.
And so, and with this, there was like a film made by I think it's called Alpha News, and their host, like I think Lisa Collins, and that kind of called Blackwell out on this, saying that she perjured herself, and Blackwell had filed a lawsuit against them for defamation, and that lawsuit recently, the past month or two, had gotten dropped. But Blackwell's argument, we watched the video, is that, like, when she says, "Oh, I don't know what kind of, tactic that is," like, I guess, like, her defense is like, she's like, okay, well, she doesn't say in the video, but I guess she's trying to imply that, we might do that tactic, but it's only to handcuff someone. But if you watch the video, it just,
because once they're subdued, you're supposed to get off of them.
But just based off this video, though, and they kind of just move on. It's like a 40-minute clip. I think she's on the stand.
Just because you're handcuffed doesn't mean you're subdued.
It's like a 40-minute clip. I think that she's on the stand, but this is just a 1-minute clip of the actual question here, and just the conversation about it is just over after this. And the way she makes it sound, and I think the problem that most people have with it is that she makes it sound like knee on neck or upper back is like never been taught,
Bullshit.
never been anything. And so I think it's slightly misleading. But to also put in perspective, they're never trained to keep your knee on the neck of someone who's like unconscious.
No, you don't need to.
So there's some like nuance there, but like it's just the way she responds. So you can just play it. We'll watch the whole clip. You can just press the screen and play.
What's been received as Exhibit 17.
This guy's asking her questions.
To ask you, officer, as you look at Exhibit 17, is this a trained technique that's by the Minneapolis Police Department when you were overseeing the training unit?
It is not.
Okay, why not?
Well, use of force according to policy has to be, consistent with MPD training. And what we train are neck restraints, the conscious and unconscious neck restraint. So per policy, a neck restraint is compressing one or both sides of the neck using an arm or leg. But what we train is using one arm or two arm to do a neck restraint.
And how does this differ?
I don't know what kind of improvised position that is. So that's not what we train.
And so, yeah, exactly what he's doing might not be what they train, but at the same time, it's not necessarily what I would consider improvised position, because there are pictures of some of the training material where they're doing stuff and they kind of got the knee on the neck and upper back type area. I think it is mostly to, handcuff them.
Can we try this? Can I lay down on the floor and have you kneel on me like that? I just want to see what it feels like.
Maybe Abby can do it.
No. I need a full-grown man.
I don't know about this, bro.
Hey, come on. Let's try it.
I know one of the cameras just died on us. I heard one of the cameras turn off. So at this point, hopefully it's not that one.
Yeah.
We could try it, though.
Let's try it. I want to try it. I want to know what it feels like. It's like getting waterboarded. You got to give it a shot.
Here we go. Oh, shit. That's my actually, I'm a pretty large man.
His head's facing the side of Derek Chauvin. I'll put my hand up here, right?
This feels slightly just kinky. Like, I don't know how I feel about it.
No, I think you got to be on the side my head's turned towards.
No, I think this is right. Face that way.
Because
we're in the picture, his head's facing the curb.
Right.
So you got one knee on here.
One knee on there. All right.
One knee.
Right there. All right, now, how much of your weight is on me?
All of it right now.
All of your weight. How much do you weigh?
225.
225 pounds. I weigh 195.
So how easy is your breathing right now? We might not fucking post this for.
No, I can breathe just fine. I mean, it's uncomfortable.
I mean, if I shift my weight.
Yeah, shift your weight right there. Okay, that hurts.
That's a decent amount of weight.
Hang on, I'm still breathing though.
But I definitely weigh more than. I definitely
Am
weigh
I gonna
more.
pass out? I don't feel like I'm
Maybe.
gonna pass out.
The blood. It might not be so much of an issue with like breathing. I feel like that'd be more of an issue with like the blood circulation at that point.
I think we should set up cameras and you kneel on me for 9 minutes.
It's definitely like the blood stops running. Your face is extra red.
Yeah, it's definitely uncomfortable.
I mean, but yeah,
Look,
I mean,
it's definitely uncomfortable.
yeah, I would imagine I probably weigh about 50 pounds more than Derek Chauvin.
So 220. I just how much
He's
of your
very
220
skinny.
pounds you just put on my neck?
I mean, it's hard to say because obviously there's still some weight in. There's still some weight like that in my feet because
Yeah.
I can't just like only balance on you because it's like a circus act.
You should just stand on my neck.
But yeah, I would
No, I
imagine.
mean,
I would
that's
imagine that
very uncomfortable.
I would imagine that's probably at least.
It doesn't inhibit your breathing at all.
It's at least like gotta be like 30, 40 more pounds than what he was putting on.
Yeah.
Hey, but then again, like in the video, on the
You'd really
picture-
have to. You'd really have to see what it feels like for 9 minutes.
Yeah, and in the video, I will say, I don't know if it's because he's unconscious. They're showing that picture and like something about it. I don't know if it's because he's unconscious and he just like George Floyd
ragdolls.
Yeah, but like it looks like his neck's really being compressed.
Yeah.
But it can't really be any more absolute weight because like I just put a decent amount of weight on and I don't know if you can tell, but Derek Chauvin is very
He's small.
a skinny guy. Like his
Yeah.
arms are probably
Yeah,
half
he
the size of
ain't
mine. Yeah, and
Yeah.
so it's hard to say for certain. I
Yeah.
mean, I definitely think he was in the wrong. I just think that Katie Blackwell thing was curious. I think there's a decent amount of controversy about it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really all that wrong. I think maybe she could have answered that question more truthfully. I don't think it was a lie.
Yeah.
I just think maybe she didn't answer it the best way possible.
Gotcha.
Which I think is most people's concern.
Yeah. All right. Well, I really think, just kind of summarize all this, right? I really think that people need to recognize that everything being pumped out to them is an attempt to spin you up and harm, I believe, and to harm you, to harm America. I think they're using feminism. I think they're using gender issues. I think they're using trannies. I think they're using race. I just think it's all designed to fight cowboy. I think the environmental movement, when you get back to the core of all this, it all stems from Marxism. Even these two people that formed BLM were Marxist-trained agitators.
Yeah. And just every political issue ends up being a crisis.
Yeah, they're trained to take these little things and to try and twist them and expand upon like the worst parts of them, right? And to blow them out of proportion. And I know that sounds very callous, talking about somebody who lost their life. And again, I do not believe that police should be in the business of taking anyone's lives. But like, the results of this were insane. And yeah, and just I think wholly unwarranted.
I agree. That's my big issue. That's my big complaint about it. And I don't think it's racist to call it out. I don't think it's stupid to call it out. Like I think the biggest issue in today's world, particularly in the U.S., but also around the world, is just media and technology and how we wield that. And I'm just hoping that as time goes on in our country and around the world, that free speech can truly stay free. Because I feel like that's the only way we can have like freedom as like a species, a humankind.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you take that away, it's like I feel like just everything's downhill from there, and it's already hard as it is to get past like propaganda.
Yeah.
I know that firsthand just from like doing like research on these podcasts and stuff. It's like really hard to like drill down the truth, and it shouldn't be that hard. But that's just media propaganda but then also like it's happened to some degree here, but I know it's happening around the world too, where voices get silenced.
Yep.
For, in my opinion, no real reason. And
I don't believe a voice should ever be silenced.
And like how
you should have the right to choose to tune it out if you'd like.
Yeah, because it's just like that is probably the most slippery slope you could ever imagine is censoring speech.
Yeah.
And I thought it was bizarre because after Trump won the election, I was talking about how it's like basically, at least for now, saving free speech. But there's some people out there who think that Trump is the one ending free speech. And I think they mistake Trump's attacks towards the media and attacks towards the left as him trying to censor them. But there's no censorship. He still lets them say what they want to say.
Yeah.
But
he's not the one funneling
he's just
money
attacking them
to
for
Politico and to NPR and to Reuters and meeting with them and getting them to and controlling the stories and the narratives.
Yeah, and then again, kind of continuing the point is like some people think he's ending free speech by defunding public funding towards like NPR.
No,
AP News. But it's like but they're missing the whole point. Like there's no shutting down of those companies.
No,
and he's not.
They're free to go raise money like anybody else and stay in business.
It's just like the money that's allocated.
Sell some advertising.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like it shouldn't. And I'm on board with it, even if they're right leaning, left leaning, center. It just makes no sense. Just be a center platform on your own. But they're not even center. Like you can't even get ChatGPT or Grok or Google Gemini to like lie to you about whether or not AP News or NPR is like censor. Like I'll ask it, it's like, are these outlets center? They're publicly funded. They should be center. Or are they right leaning? They're like every time these AI platforms are unable to lie.
Yeah.
They're left to center.
Yeah.
And not that it matters, but there shouldn't be any publicly funded.
Well, we'll have to do another podcast at a future date. I'd like to do one on censorship and I'd love to do one on how each side thinks the other one, the same thing as the other one. That's what's amazing to me, right? Each side thinks it's the other one doing it. We should really get into that and break it down and literally look at censorship. We're going into June. We should do one on Juneteenth. I love that Juneteenth is a holiday. I love that finally somebody's recognizing that white people ended slavery and that we have a holiday for it. I think that's one of the most incredible things that I love to celebrate. I'm glad that it's finally a federal holiday. So those are just a couple of the ones that I think would be great to do.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, until next week, this is Elliot.
Nathaniel.
Signing off.